Linear thinking is when you think everything goes in only one direction, and that the further you go on that path, you think you're getting better, and that everybody behind you is not as good as you. That's the tendency in linear thinking. It is very rare where a person who's way up ahead will turn around and say, "Here, come, I'll help you." Basic gung-ho linear thinkers think like the further they're on the path, the better they are, and anybody behind them is less than them. They're not good enough. They're not as good as them. That's the general thought. And that creates duality. Duality is when you look at everything in life and you only see two perspectives, yours and that which you don't like, that which you disagree with. And your tendency is to label that as bad and that you're the good one. That's the foundation of duality. Along with this process, people focus only on one emotion, and then they become addicted to it to the point where they'll do anything to maintain that emotion, whatever it is. They become an addict to it. And they call the other emotions bad emotions. Stay away from those. I don't want to do anything to even feel that other emotion. They don't want to think of bad things in their life that happened that brought those emotions. They try to suppress them thinking it's going to go away, but it doesn't. The body keeps all that energy until you release it. And you release it by facing it, learning from it, making the most of it. And that's how you transform it into a learning experience. Then it becomes a blessing because you receive knowledge, wisdom, and peace. You're at peace with it. So you can think on it anytime and it doesn't bother you. That's how that works. So, non-linear thinking is, yes, things do go forward, but we can also go backwards. There's nothing wrong with that. For example, after you come to peace with your past, now you're walking a healthy road, and as you walk on this healthy road, you slowly are able to comprehend more and more of reality. Now, this does not mean you're better. It just means you can comprehend more. It doesn't mean you're better. It just means you can comprehend more. So, in time, it's good to look back in your past again to things you've already learned, and you will see something new, because now you can comprehend more of that experience. When you first had that experience, you couldn't see everything, but now you can see more, which means you're going to learn something new. Then you come back to the present moment with that knowledge to help yourself and others to share. That is one possibility. You come back to the present moment because, see, when you come to peace with your past, your tendency is to stay in the present moment. That's a natural thing. That's healthy because the present thought patterns are what create the future. So it's always changing because your thoughts are changing. So it's always going to change. But you still have an influence over it. You still have a power over your future. Even though it may alter day by day, you still are influencing it. That's beautiful. So that's one of the benefits of learning from the past. Then you can also visualize what you would like your future to be like. And then you take some time in private and act like you're already there. And you're enjoying it. Yeah? And it puts a smile on your face. You feel good. These are real emotions. Enjoy them. That process is putting something inside of you that's going to give you inspiration. Then you come back to the present moment again. Now you have something to help you to receive inspiration, to get things done. And it's going to have an influence on your real future. and it will turn out better than you think. So you're learning from the future to help you in the present moment. This is nonlinear thinking, nonlinear living, nonlinear learning. This is why we have no word for goodbye in Lakota language, because everything is circular. What's really important is that you understand what difficulties are. But when you come to peace with your past, that's where you learn it. That's where you learn that difficulties are not a bad thing, and that you can transform them. It's like they're incomplete experiences. And yes, they bring pain and sadness and anger and disappointment and fear and all kinds of things like that. But once you start learning from it and making the most of it, those emotions slowly creep out and peace comes in. They serve their purpose. Now they're out of your body. They won't bother you anymore. You've neutralized it, is what you've done. And that's how you've come to peace with it. So, as you're living your life and you set a goal for your future, sometimes a difficulty may come out of the blue, just out of the blue. But you know, when you're healthy, that this is not because of something you did. It's time to learn something. And it may hurt. It may look like it's going to throw you off your path. But as long as you stop and take a look at it, face it, learn from it, make the most of it, you're still on that path. You just stopped, but you're still on that path. And as you learn from this, it's going to move you forward, way in hell up there. It's like you're going to take a big jump. So it actually is getting to your goal faster. But it does require you to really work on it. So that's why healthy people are not afraid of difficulties, even though they scare the hell out of us, they shock us. The first reaction is sometimes extreme disappointment. We always take time to calm down. Express the emotion in a constructive way, so you don't hurt anybody, anything, including yourself. Go for a vigorous run. Go for a vigorous swim. Climb trees. Really work your body as much as you can. Get that energy out. Go someplace and cry and get angry. It's okay to be scared. You let all of this energy out. Then you bring in your mind. This is how you work with your heart and your mind together. You bring in your mind and you say, okay, I'm still hurting a little bit. I'm still mad. I'm still disappointed. I'm still scared. But now I got to see how I can start learning from this. And maybe you can talk to somebody that you trust, and that they'll help you to calm down too. And they might see something that you don't see, and they can guide you to it. Sometimes that needs to happen. Sometimes you can do it all on your own. And then you work through it, and you're like, I'm feeling better now. I'm feeling better. See, you're still on the road. You're just standing, taking a rest, but you're still on the road. Then, before you know it, you're further than you thought. That, my friends, is non-linear. This is our way. That's what this is. This is the human way. Duality is the root of all problems, and it's important to understand it so that you know how to work it. And when you know how to work it, man, your life is going to really improve quality-wise. And you're going to see so much beauty around you. It's already there. But when you live this way, you're going to see it more and more. And it's really going to make you feel good. That's medicine. And then you understand more than you ever could before. And when blessings happen to you, you enjoy them even more than you did before. So it's a win-win situation when you do your part of learning from difficulties. So duality and linear thinking go together. The Lakota Star Knowledge foundation concepts and non-linear thinking go together. The world is a dualistic world, and the quicker that we learn that, the sooner we're able to work with it, to transform it into something. Because if we try to destroy it, then we become dualistic. When you look at Lakota Star Knowledge, creation stories, this duality was created by a process of not developing emotionally. Let's say you're living in a society where you develop healthy in a physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional way. But as soon as you take out the emotional aspect and you just focus on body, mind, and soul, then it's like you're a house. And taking out the emotional aspect is taking out one of those support beams. There's major beams in the house that everything is built around that so that you can have rooms upstairs and so forth and the supporting things. And so when you take one of those out, then part of the house is eventually going to collapse. And what we've done as humans is the same thing. That we took emotional development out of our lives and we collapsed. But we don't think we collapsed. That's the crazy part. We think we're okay. And so we're sitting in this house that part of it is caved in, but where it's like, there's nothing wrong. Everything is in order. Can you see the emotional denial there? We think we're complete and we're not. Once we become this way, then we have children and we teach them to be the same way, and so they don't know that there's something missing. So they're all building houses with a missing support beam, and they don't realize it. So after several generations go by, their houses look funny, but they think it looks normal. That's what we've done as humans. Our ancestors had full development. But in time, somewhere along the way, someone decides that emotional development is not important and focuses on just the other three. And as a result, this dualistic thinking comes into the picture. And then maybe people agree with him and they follow suit. So those people have children. Those children, they never even get a chance to learn that there's something missing. So they think the way their parents are, they think that's the way it's supposed to be. And so thousands of generations later, we have all these religions that are all dualistic. It's because there's a supporting being missing. Like I said earlier, byproducts of that are racism and paternalism and ethnocentrism and dogma. Because there's no emotional development, there's emotional insecurity, inferiority complexes, disorders, personality disorders, all kinds of stuff in which emotional development is not happening. And we think we're okay. Living this way, we think we're okay. And if anybody disagrees, we say, well, they're the enemy, so let's go destroy them. And come up with a religion to justify it and everything. That's all coming from duality. So what this show is about is to learn that, hey, there's a supporting beam missing in our house, and we have to put one in there. You see what I mean? So it's about completing. So what happened is that our ancestors start out complete, and then in time, they think they can get along without a support beam, so they throw it out. So what they've really done is they've de-evolved. And because of that, they create all these things that just causes tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And that's world history. Kingdoms taking over other kingdoms and saying, well, we got to be ready for them because we got to know their every move, so we have to know how they think, so we're 3 steps ahead of them. It's really tricky, though. What I'm trying to say is that We went from a complete house to a house missing a beam for thousands of years. Most of the Western world is living in houses that's missing a support beam that should be there. So you see, to destroy it is going to just cause more chaos, to just go around destroying all the houses. So instead, what we do is we put that beam back in there. So a dualistic house is an incomplete house. You see what I mean? It's incomplete thinking. So learning about duality is about completing it, to transform it into something that works, or something we can learn from. Because sometimes things are so dualistic that it's just beyond repair. And the best thing we can do is learn from it as much as we can, and then put that in our handbook of how not to be in that way. And that's where we have Iktomi stories come in our culture. That's what those are. Just because you know something, that does not automatically mean that you know how not to be that something. You have to check it out. You have to learn how not to be it. Look at spices. This is a really good example here. Let's say you have the kind of pepper that you put on your food, and then you have salt. And then somebody says, well, see, it's black and white there. You got pepper on one side and the other side is white, so that's salt. But then what about sugar? Do you see what I mean? Just because you know one side is pepper doesn't mean that the other side is always going to be salt. You see what I mean? You have to check it out, so you find out which one it is. And maybe there's other spices that look like pepper, so you got to check that out too. So it's taking the time to check things out, to get the understanding of how it functions. And then, like I said, sometimes it's so dualistic that the best thing to do is just learn from it and let it go. And that's still learning. You're gathering information from that experience. So some stuff you just can't do anything. Learn from it and then let it go. So that's why duality is important. It's not a bad thing. It's an incomplete thing. It's an incomplete house. It's a house missing a support beam. Just barely standing. But yet it thinks it's a mansion. Oh my. So that's why teepees had a center point and a meeting point. That's just some thought there. Yeah, something to think about. So that's why I talk about that on this show quite a bit. You can use that example to branch out all kinds of ways. In competition, you use that same way of thinking. That, yes, it's good to win, but from losing you learn. And learning is a good thing. And winners, they're community thinking. So they say, I did this, so we will live. So we will eat. So we will have clothes. So we will have food and homes. He doesn't say, I did this because I'm the best. He doesn't say it in that way. So that's how it is in traditional thinking. It's a community thinking. Your body's this way too. Your knee just doesn't get up and say, you guys are nothing without me. So to prove it, I'm not going to work, and then you will die. Well, I don't think your knee's going to do that. Yeah? Do you see what I mean? It's all working together. Everything in your body's working together too. Your body's a community, and it's all working together. So, can you understand now that when we think in a dualistic way, that we can make ourselves physically sick? Because our body is conflicting with that. And it could become weak because of that. And physical diseases could happen to us because of thinking like that. So listen to your body. Your body's telling you, it's trying to teach you to be a community thinker. And by living in that way, we can influence others in a healthy way. And that's how we honor the earth. That's how we honor ourselves and each other. That's what it's about.
To learn more about Lakota spirituality, I have written a book called Wichocha Otechike. This book also includes Lakota star knowledge information. All the videos that I make, which are about Lakota spirituality, Lakota star knowledge, and cultural information, are based on this book. This book costs 99 American dollars. This price includes the shipping cost as well as a tracking number. And to learn more about Lakota language, I have written a Lakota language book called Chante Etanha Owoglake, Speaking from the Heart. And all my Lakota language videos are based on this book. This book costs 119 American dollars. This price includes the shipping cost as well as a tracking number. I also teach online and I give spiritual consultations as well. If you are interested in any of my services and products, you can send payment via PayPal to my email address, which is hehaka7@yahoo.com. That's HEHAKA, the number 7@yahoo.com. When you send your payment, please include your shipping address and your email address. Lila Pilamayelo. Thank you very much.